Yeah, maybe that one. There we go. $19.90. What's going on, brother? Good morning. Heading through Arizona. SHOT Show's coming up. Also got our New Year's sale coming up too. And we are almost done with the 43. If everything goes right, we will be test shooting it this week. You know, I say that knocking on whatever wood might be in the area. But that's the plan. Slap it on some frames, throw it on a PSA Dagger frame, a Glock OEM frame, and I think we have an SCT frame or something for the 43 lying around somewhere. So we'll take those out, get a bunch of ammo, and just mag dump and make sure it runs. And if she does, we'll have the 43 ready. And I think we'll take the 43 to SHOT Show too. Yeah. Hey, doing a ride along, right on. Nice. Man, once you do, get that all squared away. Hey, we got a blue line discount for you and anybody else. Yep, first responders get a discount. Let's swap that up. There we go. All messages. I wish I could do that automatically. YouTube, I have to manually set all messages every time. So frustrating. I did a ride along years ago and then also did a jail visit. Exploratory, kind of see if I was interested in it. Kinda, but you know, I already did some time in one uniform, not really sure I want to do it in another one. And now we make gun parts. Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah, and we're still, you know what, we were in a live the other night over on Rumble, and DLD After Dark, Fat Tack Josh, you know, Fat Tack Holsters, who else was in there, TN Tactical, and Marine Gun Builder. And oh, thank you guys for the likes, greatly appreciate it. So we're in there, and you know what, I gotta give it to Marine Gun Builder. He has valid concerns and complaints when it comes to businesses not shipping to California. That said, we ourselves have halted shipping to California starting January 1st. And that is so we can evaluate if we're going to continue to ship in the future, you know, if we can make the process happen. Because I can tell you what we're not happy with is we're not happy with California having us check people's ID. We're not happy with having to maintain those records on file. We're not selling an FFL related part, so that should not be our responsibility. And just like we've also seen recently, I don't know how many of you are familiar with what happened with Pornhub, for example, but they just got hacked, and a bunch of their people who were like premium members and on the ID verification thing, their IDs and information are out in the wind now. So let's put it this way. Politicians are like, you know, corporate, right? You might be working, you know, in the field store, right? Out there, just in a random city. And then there's corporate. Corporate comes along and makes up some weird rule that you all have to follow that doesn't make sense because you're working in the store. You're on the front line, there it is, right? And the order doesn't make sense. This rule doesn't make, they're like, hey, has the person in corporate, you know, worked in a store in, you know, in the last 20 years, that's what politicians are. They come up like corporate, make up a dumbass rule and say, hey, follow this rule. And it makes no freaking sense whatsoever. So, yeah, we're not happy with it, and we're debating how to possibly come into compliance with it because, you know, Marine Gun Builder was right. They are like 20% of the market, and losing California is going to hurt sales for us to a degree. Now, is California all of our sales? No, the majority of our sales go to Utah, funny enough. What the hell? Some kind of strike going on, people dressed in Santa outfits. But he was right. California does represent 20% of, you know, gun sales. The problem is California politicians and a bunch of Californians are absolutely fucking retarded. So it is what it is. It's something we have to deal with, that there are good patriots in California that are going to suffer because of the area they either chose to live or that they can't escape from. That said, we need them to be there because they're the only ones offering a fight to the anti-Second Amendment people that make up probably 70 to 80% of California. So you're in a bit of a quandary, right? Like, how do we continue to support those 2A patriots, but at the same time not have to deal with the hardships put upon your business by one state? Because if we were all to follow everything California wanted, the rest of the country would not have gun ownership as we know it. Hey, works in progress. What's going on, brother? So, all I can say to Californians is keep up the fight. I'm really hoping they lose in court. We're evaluating over the next 6 months how we're going to proceed to selling to Californians. So until we get that figured out, we have to halt shipments to California because we're not ready to go into compliance yet. And it's mostly just the holding on. I could pay a third-party provider and say, hey, check IDs for us. But then they get hacked and then everyone's ID's out in the wind and then it's, you know, somehow still our fault. Or we could keep physical copies that, you know, California through the ATF can come and just check up on us whenever the hell they want. Or if they think that we are not in compliance, sue us or any other gun manufacturer, parts manufacturer, accessory seller, whatever. For example, like, I don't know if any of you saw that live. Marine Gun Builder was on there talking about a punch that he had, that because it is a tool that assists you in whatever it is you're working with your gun, boom, the jigs that DLD After Dark has, done. Those require checks. You got to check someone's ID. On top of that, you also have to give out like a digital pamphlet every time that for someone from California buys a gun-related product, and it's just ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So, yeah, we're still figuring that out, figuring out what we want to do, how we want to do it, and I can tell you this: us and a lot of other businesses are not going to sink ourselves because of the stupidity of one state. And I know people, you know, everyone, like, well, you're not a 2A absolutist, you're not this. And it's like, you know, I am, but sometimes there are battles that you just can't win. We are not a huge factory like Glock or Smith & Wesson or Ruger, and even then, big factories got taken down, like Polymer 80. They got their asses spanked in court. And there was nothing. Like, you didn't see the 2A community rise up, protect this business. So there is some give and take on both of that. Yes, businesses should support the Second Amendment at every turn that they are capable of doing so. That said, I understand why businesses, like for example, why Glock came out with the V series, why businesses choose to just stop shipping to California or to certain cities, like say Chicago. It's understandable because they are still trying to exist as a business. They still have a family to take care of, employees to take care of. And everyone else who's sitting back on Fort Couch going, oh, why didn't this business risk it for the biscuit? Why aren't you supporting the business? It's not like you're out there with, you know, wallet in hand. Oh shit, this business is going under. Let me go spend every dollar I have. But on the flip side, that same person says, hey, that business should risk everything for me, even though I'm not helping them. There is a give and take to the 2A community in this country, and we are not in sync. That is absolutely true, that we are not in sync. Also on the same side, to keep that criticism going, businesses are not in sync with each other. Not everybody, there's a few that are kind of wrapped up in a similar concept I have, but many are wrapped up in, well, that's a competitor, fuck them. And it's like, no, none of us can control the 2A market, not a single business. As large as Glock is, or Smith & Wesson is, or, you know, PSA, or anybody, not one of us can control the entire market. And we shouldn't. There is too much to offer. Yes, we make slides. There are other businesses out there like Marconi that make slides, or Shogun that makes slides, and they do a really good job of making slides. And they make slides, we make slides, but we make different stuff. Our designs are different. The steel might be different. You know, whatever caliber it is for, whatever model it's for is different. And so you got to have variety for people. It's why there's so many different guns instead of just one federal gun store. Hey, this is the only rifle you can have. Hey, this is the only pistol you can have. Because not everybody agrees on what is the best rifle, what is the best pistol, or not everyone has the same hand feel on what feels right, what feels good. Some people absolutely love Glock. Some people absolutely love Smith & Wesson. It's what feels right in your hand. So we need variety. You can't just have one slide manufacturer, one frame manufacturer, and so on and so on. It doesn't click. So yeah, I understand why businesses are doing this in regards to California or Chicago or, you know, any other certain cities where they've just cut them off completely. Could we ship to American Samoa, for example? Technically, yeah, we probably could. We don't, though. And I'm hoping they are going to lose in court along with the Virgin Islands, because right now, I don't know how many of you are tracking that. Yes, variety is the spice of life. I don't know how many of you are tracking what's going on with the Virgin Islands, but there is now a lawsuit, the U.S. government versus the United States Virgin Islands, which is a territory of the United States, because the Virgin Islands have been denying their citizens gun rights under the Second Amendment, and so has American Samoa. Now, the Virgin Islands requires that you get a license to carry. And this license, you have to prove that you are under some sort of threat. Well, that's not allowed. California lost in the same way. And one moment, I got to give you guys a quick... Hey, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Popping back in. Had to take care of a quick phone call. Okay, so what was I talking about? When it comes to California, yes, I understand why businesses are cutting California off. They are trying to cut off the finger to save the hand. They don't want to deal with potential lawsuits. California is incredibly litigious. California is one of the states that sued Polymer 80 into the ground. There are other states, other cities, other counties, whatever, but California was one of the contributors to suing Polymer 80. And so businesses look at this and they go, okay, so we can come into this crazy compliance that's going to be a pain in the ass for us, that we have to keep records that can be requested, and then also potentially hacked. And then all of a sudden people's IDs and information are out in the wind, and then we get blamed for it. Or we can just cut California off, which is 20% of the market. And Marine Gun Builder was right in saying that some businesses are probably going to raise prices to cover for that. Yes, some businesses are. We don't have any plans to do that. And I can tell you, because primarily California isn't where we are getting a bunch of sales. Utah is, Texas is, Washington, New York, Florida. Multiple other states are beating California sales out for us, so it's not going to impact us. But that said, it is 20% of the gun market. And so other businesses may very well increase prices to compensate for the fact that they are losing California. Yes, in part to their own choices by choosing to not ship to California. That is partially their choice. We could spend money and we could come into compliance and create a whole additional process for just shipping to California, redesign the website for California compliancy, and yeah, we could do that. But at the moment, when we are focused on a bunch of other things, it's not high priority. And so I'm thinking maybe summer, we'll probably have everything figured out and revisit the issue. But what I really want to do, and someone sent us a website in one of the other lives that we're going to go check out. But what I really want to do is find a network of FFLs in California that we can ship the slides to, parts kits, whatever they want to order, and then Californians locally can support that FFL. So the FFL buys from us at a dealer rate, then the FFL sells to local Californians at the MSRP, and boom, everyone's getting helped out there. Local Californians are getting their slides and parts kits, and then local gun shop is getting business, and the manufacturer is getting, a repeat, stocking every month or two, maybe 3, where they're just like, hey, we need 5 slides, we need 10 slides, we need 20 slides, depends on how busy their business is. And we're willing to do that. We're willing to work with small gun shops where we can send them 5 slides or 10 slides. We don't have to send them 100, because we already have some businesses doing that. For example, in Utah, we are sending hundreds of slides to distributors and retailers there. We've got a few other places in other states where we are sending dozens to hundreds of slides that they are then turning around and sending off to gun shops, or that they are selling on their website, and so on. But we are happy to provide for the small mom and pop gun shops. Send them 5 slides, 10 slides, whatever. Whatever, because I've talked to more than a few, and one of their complaints is that they can't get good dealership rates because they are not ordering hundreds of units. So we created a dealership rate that is affordable for smaller businesses and still profitable enough for us that we're not taking a loss. And so our employees can still get paid, and we can still pay overhead and everything like that. So it's definitely doable. And I'm super happy to help support smaller businesses. Don't be wrong, we love the big orders. If someone came to us and said, hey, Stiffler, can you guys get us 500 slides? Yeah, sure. But I'm also happy to say, hey, smaller business, you only need 5 slides? Yeah, we got you. We can help you out. But I mean, I don't know what your guys' opinions are on it. It is not ideal. Obviously, no one's happy about this law except for the people who hate guns and hate the Constitution. So I understand both sides of it. It's absolutely correct to be frustrated at businesses who are abandoning California, but it's also correct that businesses are trying to take on less liability and risk, because when it comes to them going down, no one's really going to step up and say, hey, let's support this business, let's give them all our money so they can fight the legal fight. That happened with Polymer 80, but it left a bad taste in some people's mouths, and some people accepted it. They were like, hey, look, we might not get our frame, or we might not get this or that, but know that the money is going to fight, the good fight in the court system, because what happened to them could happen to any 2A related business. I mean, all the anti-2A cities have to do to start a lawsuit say, well, hey, the product you create is contributing to crime in our area. I'm like, no, it's not. Your city is contributing to crime in your area. And that's the fight you have to bring to them, is that it's not our product, which is a constitutionally protected product under the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. It is your city, your community, your law enforcement. Your politicians have failed your city, and that is why your city is having problems. Not because Americans lawfully own guns and can buy guns. It is your choice as a city to poorly take care of your people, and because you have done so, you now have the crime you have the society you have. That's the argument that needs to be pushed to the anti-gun cities. It is not the rest of America's fault that your city is a total shithole, that your city has gangs and crime. You do not empower your police to do what they need to do. You do not do what you need to do to take care of your citizenry and further education and the arts and sciences. You have a shithole city with shithole people. That is not the rest of America's fault who is just following the Constitution. It is your fault as a community. And I don't think enough shame gets put on people about that. A lot of people go, and you'll see this generationally too. A lot of people will sit there and go, well, it's not my fault. I didn't do this. No, you didn't, but you are a citizen of your community. In the city I drive around in, there are tweakers. I don't view it as just the city's fault, you know, the politicians. I view it as all of our fault. Everybody, the community, the neighborhoods, the society that we have, the churches, the police department, the politicians. It is all our fault for the crime that we have, because together we have failed to enforce an expectation of how we should all be living in a civil society. There's always going to be crime. There's always going to be bad things happening. But how society reacts to it really shows how your citizens are, how your city is, and how you as a people, just deal with it. Hey, Zanti, what's going on, brother? Failed, absolutely. Yes, I think Zanti was in that live the other night. We have Marine Gun Builder, TN Tactical, DLD After Dark, and Fat Tack Josh, and all of us in there. And we were in there talking about, that's what this is kind of going on about, Zanti, is that the debate between try to fall in line with California's requirements to ship to them or abandon California. And I understand both sides of it. And for us, yes, we are stopping shipment to California starting, January. And not permanently. That's not the intention. The intention is, how do we adjust as a business to ensure that some California politician under, Newsom's government doesn't come and try to sue the fuck out of us because they found out, oh, hey, look, Stiffler slides got to California. Let's go find out if they're in compliance. And then they determine we're not, and then they sue the shit out of us like they did to Polymer 80. So I think Marine Gun Builder is absolutely right that there should be criticism laid on businesses. I understand if people aren't happy with us. But I also understand the business side of it, of reducing risk and liability, because at the end of the day, you want to still have enough profit for your family. You want to have enough for your employees. And, any business wants to pass it down to their kids. So to the next generation, the business needs to survive, and you have to, as a business, make the decision, is California worth it? And a lot of businesses have said no. California and Californians are not worth the potential risk, which is truly saddening. It is. And so I recognize that I am in a conflicted position where we as a business have said, okay, we are going to halt shipments to California until we can figure this out. Because we are not going to risk getting sued into the ground by California, which is known to be an incredibly litigious state. And if we can figure it out, if we can still make it profitable, and if it's still something that we can deal with as a business or want to deal with as a business, because we could probably deal with it. Is it something we want to do? And if it is, then we will revisit the issue and hopefully, but what I really want is to get FFLs in California in a network, not just with us, but with a lot of other manufacturers and distributors, so that Californians can still get the products locally, and then all these mom and pop gun shops can still get an influx of business. And I'm not talking big places like Walmart and Sportsman's Warehouse, and that'd be awesome too, but I'm talking mom and pop gun shops who just need product so that they can go in, support a local gun shop, and then the manufacturers and distributors are also getting paid, the local gun shop's getting paid, and the local 2A supporting gun owner gets the product that they want. That's what I want to see. I want to see a network of small FFLs getting product so that they can push out across states like California where they have issues. Because California, this is not going to stop at California. This will go with Washington. This will go with New Jersey, New York, Where else? Maryland. Maryland's definitely going to pull this bullshit. Nevada might pull this. So I could see this spreading, not just California, but to all these other states that are anti-2A. I could see this with New Mexico if their governor doesn't change. So it's something to be aware of and to constantly fight. And I think a lot of 2A supporters, I think a lot of gun owners get complacent depending on who's in office at the time. Trump is not your 2A friend. Republicans are not your 2A friends. Constant vigilance. They are going to fail you. Like the NRA, who already failed us. Yes, they are trying to turn things around now, but previously they failed us. Republicans failed us. Trump failed us. Just because they wave a red banner and say, hey, look, I'm a Republican, doesn't mean they're not going to toss your gun rights out the window. Okay, they don't care. They care as long as it's convenient for them to get elected. You know, that's it. They don't care about your gun rights. Never have, never will. Never trust your politicians to preserve your rights. It is a constant, generational fight. Your grandfather had to fight for it. You fight for it. Your son is going to have to fight for it. It is going to be constant. It is a never-ending fight for the Second Amendment. That's just what it is. And to think, oh, hey, I got this senator, I got this governor, I've got this president, that's not good enough. It's never good enough. There's always going to be somebody like what Newsom is doing right now. There's always going to be somebody in the background just waiting for the right moment. Hey, how can I fuck the Second Amendment today? That is absolutely what's always going to happen. So, yeah, we're in a conflicted position where businesses are choosing self-preservation, ease, and survival over California, where they go, you know what? Yeah, you're just not worth it anymore. But we're also seeing some businesses, and I applaud Marine Gun Builder for continuing to ship. And I think DLD After Dark is going to try to figure out how to ship. And we're going to keep looking at it. And if we can figure it out, if we can make it work for us, we'll continue. But I think the best route is this network of FFLs. And I think, you know, us, Marine Gun Builder, you know, Fat Tack Holsters, you know, everybody we all know and interact with, and even other businesses that we don't know, they need to find a network of FFLs in California to support and work together and communicate together to provide gun parts and accessories to Californians. Instead of the direct ship, I understand that we can accommodate the direct ship if you want to take on checking IDs and, you know, keeping a bunch of paperwork on file so that the ATF can just come and check you whenever, or so California can demand records and confirm that you're in compliance whenever. Hey, Brookside, what's going on? EDC, how you doing? I understand that that's an option, but I think the FFL option is the better route. And this does, you know, it's twofold. Yes, it supports the manufacturer or the distributor, whatever, the online retailer, but it also supports local mom and pop gun shops. And I think that's the better route, is getting good dealer rates, wholesale rates on smaller orders for local shops so that local people can buy locally. I think that's the better route. Oh my God, yeah, I could see that, Zanti. I could see it. Jesus. They'll probably ban slings next. You have to constantly hold your rifle. You can't sling it. Yeah, that's wild. But I don't know. That's my long rant on it. It's not an easy issue. There's anger on both sides, frustration on both sides, and I get it. And I understand both sides. And, you know, people are definitely right when they want to criticize businesses. And businesses, I think, are also definitely right when they want to reduce risk. Because dealing with California's bullshit is difficult. And it always has been and always will be until they have a culture shift in California. And I'm not sure I ever see that happening just because of how dominant, for those of you who've seen Judge Dredd, you know, mega cities, that's been my term for them. Mega cities dominating states. And that's what California has. And that's what New York has, is that they have a handful of cities that are dominating the entire state. And so I know that there are 2A supporters in California that are fighting the good fight. And it is a struggle to support them because you know that at the flip of a hat, all of a sudden, you're facing a California attorney who wants to sue the shit out of you. Yeah, pearl clutchers. A lot of people, they don't vote in the in-between years. They're like, oh, hey, we went and voted for the president, and they don't vote for the in-between years. They don't pay attention to taxes that are getting put into place. They don't pay attention to local ordinances. They don't pay attention to the legislature when they push stuff silently overnight. It is a constant fight for the Second Amendment and for just, other stuff in general. But, yeah. But anyway, for those of you who can see this in the background here, this is last year's MMC booth where you can see a bunch of our slides down here in the background. Yeah, there they are. And we're going again. We are going to be at the same booth. Booth 41160, I think it is. We're going to be in the Venetian in Las Vegas. If you guys know anybody who's going, tell them to stop on by. Because we're going to be there. We're going to be wandering around. We're going to go and try and meet with Gideon Optics. I can't remember if Crump is going to be there or not. If he is, we're going to meet up with him. We're going to try and meet up with Bullseye Ben. And just, whoever we can meet up with. Anybody we can meet and greet, that's who we're going to go and meet up with. SHOT Show is a place, for businesses and media and gun tubers to all just meet up and talk. Chat about business. Sadly, they don't let in the average person, like GunCon or GOA Goals or anything like that. It's just businesses. It's industry only, and then media and gun tubers. So, man, you can't meet the Stiffler meat, bruh. You just can't get stiff with the Stiffler meat like Stiffler can. Most importantly, they don't pay attention to local elections. Yes, they do not. Once the big election's over, people just roll back to what they were doing, and a lot of shit gets passed in the interim that is just detrimental to everything people were trying to do. But that's where I'm going to end that. We are going to SHOT Show next month. We're going to be there with MMC Armory. We made a few announcements on social media about it. The 43 is in the final stages of being complete. The 26, we're waiting on some tools to come in so we can finish that. There's been a delay because it's the end of the year, but we are working on it. Versus short stroke piston ITAR. Yeah. Both are good in their own regard. But that's what we're hitting up. And then we also have our end of the year, New Year's sale coming up. The next sale after that, maybe Valentine's Day. Not sure what we'll do for that, but we might do something for Valentine's Day. But I got to head off and get to work. Got to jingle jangle these keys and go do some stuff. So thank you guys for popping in. Thanks for the likes. Greatly appreciate it. I'm going to probably start shifting some of these drive lives over to Rumble once that becomes a little easier to navigate. YouTube is not gun friendly. They are not Second Amendment friendly. They're not even First Amendment friendly. They are not the way. So I encourage people to go explore Rumble. Go look that up because a lot of gun tubers are slowly starting to shift their way over there. So, give that platform a look. It's only going to improve with use. Yes, it's a little clunky right now to start lives with your phone on Rumble compared to YouTube, but it is getting better. So give that a look, and as always, stay 2A every day.